Hi guys.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good
Good evening, sir.
evening. Okay guys. Okay guys. Just see that. Okay guys. Just see that. We are going to discuss float here. Float. Just see that here. In the float. See that. What are the values we are going to store in the float here? Just see that. What are the values we are going to store into float variable? Just see that. Can store same exact. See that. Can store just see that number. It can store same positive value and negative value here. Positive values and the negative values. Negative values. See that now. It will see that it can also store positive and negative values here. It can store unlimited values. Unlimited values. It can store unlimited values. Same, just like see that now guys. Unlimited values. It can store decimal values. Decimal values. Decimal values, guys. It can store decimal values. The decimal values. Just see that now, guys. It can store scientific values. Scientific. Scientific values. Scientific values. Scientific values here. Just see that now. Okay, see that now, guys. Here, the thing is, we are going to store decimal values and scientific values here. The remaining features are same. What features we saw in the integer. Here also, we are having same features along with, see that, additional features. Decimal values and scientific values. See that in the real-time projects where we should use float here. In the real-time projects, in the real-time applications, in the real-time applications here, where we should use float here, where we should use float variables. Where we should use float variables here. Just see that now, guys, in the real-time projects here, real-time applications. if you take any application here, there is a one column, salary column. Salary column. See that now, guys. For creating salary column, we should go float data type here. Because the HR people, they're going to detect many things here. The HR people, they're going to detection, TDS and all things, right? They're going to detection, TDS and all things. In that case, we are going to get salary in the decimal points here. See that? In the real-time projects where we should use float variables for creating salary. For creating salary variable. Okay, as well. For creating TA, traveling elements, HRA, HRA. HRA, house rent elements, traveling elements, HRA, simple interest here, simple interest, see that, simple interest here, etc. here. Just see that now, guys. In the real-time projects where we should use float variable.
చెప్పినా నీకు ఇది క్లాస్ లో ఒకటి అందుకనే నేను 8 o'clock పోమను.
Guys, please mute yourself.
Yes, guys, just see that you guys having some doubts, right? Where we should use float variable in the real-time applications for creating salary, for creating traveling elements, for creating house rent elements, for calculate simple interest here. In that case, we are going to get decimal values here. We are going to get decimal values here. See that in the real-time projects, we are going to use these columns only. For these columns, we are going to use float variable. Here, there is a one inbuilt function here. There is a one inbuilt function float here. Float. What is the float function exactly here? Here, any object, it has to convert into float type here. Any object, it has to convert into float type. You have to convert into float type here. Any object. Like it may be string object or it may be integer object. Any object, it has to convert into float type. Now here there is a one more function here, round function here, round. See that now here, round function here. Suppose here, this is our float value, 10 point something, some float decimal values. See that now here, we want to display the after decimal, see that, after point here, we want to display the 3, 4. I want to display these two numbers. See the right hand time, see that, it's a float value, guys, 10 point or something here. 10 point, these are the decimal values. These are the decimal values here. Here, after point, we want to display the 2 digits only. In that case, we should go round function here, round function. Suppose here, let me give that A. Just see that now, guys. Here, A, comma, we want to display the only two digits. See that 2. See that now, just after 10, we are going to get only 3, 4. After 10, we are going to get only 3, 4. See that after 10, we want to display the only 2 decimal values. See that now. We have to display the only 2 decimal values. We have to display 2 decimal values. Decimal values. That is the round function, round here. What is the round function exactly here? Here, see that it has to display specific decimal values. Suppose I want to display 3 decimal values. Let me increase that value. I want to display 1 decimal value. 1. Just see that now, guys. This is called a float here. This is called a float. Just see that now. These are the values we are going to store into float data type. Then in the real-time projects, we are going to create salary, traveling elements, house rent elements, simple interest, etc. Here the function Any object, it has to convert into float type here. Any object. Any object, it has to convert into float type.
Any object is string also.
String also convert into float type here.
Thanks.
But here, complex, we can't convert into float type. Here you can note it, guys. Complex, we can't convert into float type. Complex, we can't convert into integer type. But into we can't convert. See that? What I'm trying to say here. Here, see that complex data type. You can note it one thing here. Complex. We'll discuss later. Complex data type. We can't convert into type as well. Float type here. But integer you can convert into complex type. Float you can convert into complex type here. Just see that complex data type. We can't convert into. We can't convert into here. Into type, float type, etc. here. But inter we can convert into complex type here. Into we can convert into complex type. Complex type. Float also we can convert into complex type here. Float also we can convert into complex type. See that any data type you can convert into complex type here. See that now, guys. Float also we can convert into complex type. Complex type. We will discuss later what is the complex type. We will discuss later. First, see that now, guys. The interview person is going to ask, can I convert it to complex type here? The float value, we can't. Yeah, float value we can convert into complex type here. Float value we can convert into complex type, but complex value we can't convert into float type as well into type here. Complex value we can't convert into.
So complex means long digits, right?
No,
Like,
complex having two parts here, real part and imaginary part. I will show that.
yes, sir. J.
First of all, we'll see that here. We can note it here. You can remember that. We will discuss later.
Thank
See
you,
that
sir.
now. Float we can convert into complex type, but complex we can't convert into float type. In the same way, integer we can convert into complex type. See that int also we can convert into complex type, but complex we can't convert into integer type. We will discuss later. Just first of all, see that now, guys. Now we should go complex here. Complex. Here, see that what is the complex exactly, guys? Here, see that now, guys. In the complex, here there are two values we can store. There are two values here. The real part and imaginary part here. The data type had two parts here. See that the data type having two parts. See that it is having two parts here. It is having two parts. See that now? Real part plus imaginary part. Real part, imaginary part. Just see that now, these two parts here. Here, see that now, guys. We are going to store the real part and imaginary part here. Here, see that now. Here, how to represent real part, how to represent imaginary part here. See that now, guys. Here, imaginary part represents J character. See that now, guys. Imaginary part represent J character. Imaginary part represents J character. See that. How to create imaginary part here? With J character. With J. See that. Imaginary represent J char. Let me see that now, guys. Here, what are the values you can store? What type of values you can store here? See that you can store real part and imaginary part as well. I want to see that it can store only imaginary part here. It can store only imaginary part. Sometimes such cases we can store only imaginary part here, not an issue. Such cases, we don't want real part, we want to store only imaginary part here. We can store it, not an issue here. See that now, guys. You can store imaginary part. Such cases. It can store negative imaginary part also, guys. It can store negative imaginary part also. Negative value also. It can store negative imaginary part also, guys. Negative imaginary value. Let us see that now, guys. Next one. Here there are two keywords. There are two keywords. Two keywords for accessing real part and imaginary part. There are two keywords for accessing real part and the imaginary part. What are the keywords now, guys? The first keyword, the real keyword. Just accessing the real part. It will access the real code, real part here. See that real keyword. It will access real code. Otherwise, real part here. The second one, imaginary. I am a chip. It will access imaginary code. It will access imaginary code. It will access imaginary code. Just see that now, guys. Here, what about complex here? What are the values stored into complex? We can store real code and imaginary code. How to represent imaginary code with J character? Imaginary represent with J. With J char. It can store only imaginary code. Such cases, yes, you can store it, not an issue here. Such cases, it can store negative imaginary code. Yes, you can store it, not an issue, guys. Here, how to access real code and imaginary code? Separate, we are going to access real code and imaginary code. Just see that there are two keywords. A real keyword, I am a G. See that I am a G. This is called imaginary code. It's one more keyword. It's going to access imaginary code. There are two keywords. These two are keywords. This is the first one is going to access real code. The second one is going to access imaginary code. We'll see that. Now let us see that now, guys. Example code. Then we should go here. Then we should go here. There is one more function here. Complex function. Complex. Here see that now. Any object it has to convert into complex type. Any object. Any object it has to convert into complex type here. Any object it has to convert into complex type. Any object it has to convert into complex type. Any object here. It may be integer. Int object it has to convert into complex type. See that int object it has to convert into complex type. String object it has to convert into complex type. Any object here it has to convert into complex type. It has to convert into complex type. Any object. But complex, we can't convert into integer type. We can't convert into string type. See that any object we can convert into complex type here, but complex we can't convert into any other type. Just see that now, guys. What I'm trying to say. Any object we can convert into complex type, but complex we can't convert into other type here. Complex we can't convert into other type because it's a separate data type here. Here we are going to store imaginary part and real part here. Just see that. Any object you can convert into complex type here, but complex we can't convert into other data type. Here str also converted to complex type, and so that float also converted to complex type. Float also converted to complex type. Converted to complex type, etc. Etc. Any object can convert into complex. Any object here. Any object you can convert into complex type, not an issue. Let us see that, guys. Let us see that now. Example programs. We'll see in the real-time projects where we should use complex here. In the real-time projects. In the real-time projects where we should use complex data type here. In the real-time projects where we should use complex data type. Just see that now, guys. In the real-time projects, where we should use complex data type here. Just at a time we want to store. Suppose if we take the cricket application here. Cricket application. Here we want to store. At a time we want to store player name, then runs here at a time. We want to store player name and runs here. Runs also. We want to store both here. See that we are going to store player name and as well runs both here. In that case, it will go complex data type here. Player name, Sachin Tendulkar. The name is Sachin. We are going to store the along with runs also here. I will show that. First of all, see that we want to store at a time two values, name and runs here both. The runs we are going to put into real part here. Name we are going to put into imaginary part. We'll see that now, guys. Don't worry. But see that now. In the cricket application, we want to store player name and runs here at a time. In such requirement, such kind of requirements, see that if you get such kind of requirements here, you should go complex here. Complex, we'll see that now. Come back now. Okay, we should go, guys, float here. We should go float, right? Just see that now, float, guys. Just come back to float. We'll see Visual Studio. Visual Studio here. Okay, guys. Let me import our directory. Just import our directory, guys. File, open folder. Open folder. What is the folder name? 730 batch, right? 730 batch, guys. 730 batch. It's our folder, right? Just select it now. Okay, guys. Let me close it. Previous programs, all programs. Okay, guys. Now let us create example. What is the float underscore demo? Float underscore demo dot py. See that? Here, don't take the float here. Float is the inbuilt here. Float is the inbuilt keyword. Don't take it. You can add some name here. We are giving some name, other name. See that? Float underscore demo. Don't put float. Don't take the float variable. It's an existing keyword. It's an existing keyword. Don't put the float keyword. You can take it some other name. Float underscore demo. Something. We need to add some name here. I see that I'm adding something. Float underscore demo here. Underscore demo is the, see that. We need to add something, right? Yes, guys. Just see that. Okay. Let me see that now, guys. Float. Let us see that. F1 equal float value 10.5. Unlimited value also. Unlimited value. F2. F3 also, guys. F3 also. What is F3, guys? Negative value also. Negative value. Negative value also. It's a negative value. Next one, guys. Already I given decimal value. See that now, guys? In the real-time project, salary here. First of all, he's going to calculate traveling elements. Salary here. What is the basic salary, guys? Some salary here. Equals something 15,000 per month. Okay. 15,000 or something here. We need to calculate something TA. What is the TA here? How to calculate TA? And basic salary, right? Salary, we need to calculate that. Star 10 by the 10% here. Is going to calculate 10% traveling elements. HRA elements also is going to calculate. house rent elements also is going to calculate 10%. Just see that now, guys. See that now, guys. We are going to get decimal values, unlimited value. See that traveling value. Traveling also. Just see that now, guys. Okay. Okay, let me display that now, guys. First of all, display the all values. Print here. Let me display that now here. Otherwise, let me take the int value. Int value, guys. What is int value? A equal int value. Let me convert into float type. See that I want to convert into float type here. Int value, then string value. String value here. What is string value? 20. Let me convert into float type. Let me take these two values, convert into float type here. Just see that F4 equal. First of all, take the int value and convert into float type. See that now. Int value, convert into float type here. We are holding into F4. We can store on local variable F4. In the same way, just see that now here. String value, convert into float type. String value also convert into float type here. Next one. Float value also convert into float type. Float value something. Float value also convert into float type here. F6. See that no typecasting mode. These are the typecasting functions here. Typecasting. Int value convert into float type. String value convert into float type. Float value also convert into float type. Float value. See that. Float value convert into float type here. Now let me display the all things now. Let me display the all things now, guys. Print. We want to print all things, right? Okay. Let me display the all things now, guys. What is the name? First of all, F1. Then let me give the space. Then display the data type also. I want to display the data type. Then slash n. Slash n. Let me copy the same code. Just see that now here. Let me display the F2 also, guys. Data type also. F3 also. Data type also. Next one, salary. Here, data type also, guys. Salary data type. Salary data type, something, right? Salary 15,000. 15,000 only. Just see that. It's a salary. Next one, guys. Let me display the traveling elements. The traveling elements here. Let me display the data type also here. HRE elements. HRE. HRE elements. Just display that now. HRE. Next one, guys. Typecasting functions here. Typecasting, right? Just see the typecasting here. F4, F5, F6 here. F4, integer convert into float type. F5, string convert into float type. F6 here, float value convert into float type. Float value convert into float type here. You can do typecasting. See that I have done typecasting, right? Just see that these values. I have done typecasting. Just see that. What are the values? Int value, we are converting. See that. I was converted into float type. Here, string also converted into float type. Float value converted into float type. Let us see that we want to display that. We want to display that now here. Let me copy this. Copy. Okay, guys. Let me display that now here. F4. Data type also. F5. F6. Just see that now, guys. F6 also, guys. Okay, done. Let me run this code and check the output now. See that now here. In the real-time projects also, where we should use float for creating salary column. Just see that now, guys. For creating salary column, finally we are going to use for salary column, for traveling allowance, for house rent allowance, for calculate simple, see that, for calculate simple interest here. Just see that. In the real-time applications where we should use float variables. See that now. Let me come back. Let me run this code. We'll see that now, guys. Here, guys, let us see that. First of all, let me check that now. We'll see. Okay, go to here. Otherwise, go to external command prompt here. Here directly we should go our directory. What's the directory name? 730 batch. External CMD, right? External CMD here. Here directly you can run it here. Directly you can run it. Float. You can run it directly. See that now, guys. Just see that now, guys. We are getting all our float values here. All float. Just see that. See that now, class type float. Here, see that this is the integer type here, unlimited value. Because there is no decimal value, right? Let me add the decimal value, guys. It's unlimited value. If you want decimal here, it's going to become float. Let me see that now, guys. Yeah, we are getting all float values. All float. Suppose, see that now, house rent elements, how much we are getting. Just see that now. 10.6 something we are getting. Just see that. Okay, guys, let me come back. Just come back now, guys. Here let me use 15,000 point some decimal values here. Some decimal value. See that? Here we are going to display after point, we want to display the two decimal values here. After, see that 15,000, we want to display the two decimal values. In such requirement, you should go round function, right? In such requirement, you should go round function here. Round function. What about round function here? See that. See that it has to display the specific decimal values here. Suppose if you want to 2 decimal values, if you want to 3 decimal values, if you want to 1 decimal value, after point here, how many decimal values you want to display that? In such requirement, you should go round function here. Round function. Just see that. Come back. Okay, here let me see that now, guys. Print round function. Round function here. How to use it now, guys? Round function. The print out directly. Just see that now, guys. Print. What is the name? Round function here. Round function or rounded. Round function only. So we'll see that rounded function. What is the float value, guys? Salary here. I want to display the 2 decimal values. We'll see that now. Come back. We'll see that now, guys. Is it rounded or round function? We'll check that now. Oh, something round only. Round only, guys. Not rounded, round only. Okay, let me see that. Round only. Okay, guys. Round function. Come back now. You see that now we are getting 2 decimal values. We are getting only 2 decimal values. See that? 8, 9. See that? We are getting 9 value. What is the 9 value here? See that? What is the 9 value we are getting? Is there any 9 value here? Is there any 9 value? After 15,000, all are, see that? 8 numbers. See that? 8 numbers, right? But there is no 9 value. But we are getting 9 value because above Just see that now here. Above 5, that value is going to rounded. See that value is going to become nearest value here. Here, the second digit is the 8 here. What is the nearest value? See that now, 9 only. See that now, what I'm trying to say. Otherwise, if you have any doubt here, something, you can keep it now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Done. We want to display the 2 digits only. We are going to get only 8 1. 8 1. Let me see that now. 8 1 only we are getting. Directly we are getting 8 1. Suppose here, after 8, if you take the above 5 value, 6 here. Otherwise, see that now, guys. Above 5 means 6 value. 6 value, guys. What is 6 value here? Let me see that. It's above 5. I am taking 6 value. 6 value, see that now? It's going to round its nearest value 7 here. It's going to round nearest value 7 because it's above 5 value here. Suppose we don't want these things only, guys. See that I'm taking only 8 6 here. See that what is the 6 value here? Nearest value. What about 6 nearest value? 7. 7 only. Just see that we're getting the nearest value because 6 is the above 5. 6 is the above 5. Round function, it has to check the nearest value. It has to display the nearest value here. See that now. Above 5 value. Suppose 5 below, it will display the as is value. If you give the 5 below, the function, it has to display the actual value here. Because the 3 is the 5 below. 3 is the 5 below here. Let me check that now here. As is value we are getting. Above 5 value, suppose if I take the 8 here. 8 nearest value 9. Just see that we are going to get nearest value 9 only. It has to display the nearest value 9. What about that 8 again? We are getting same, right? Properly save it now. Okay. If you say if take the same value or 7 value. 7 value nearest to 8, right? 7 nearest 8 value. We'll check that now, guys. We're getting okay, same value here. Okay, guys, see that now. Nearest value it will display that. If you take the more than 2 digits here. More than two digits here. If you take the more than two digits, it will display the nearest value. We'll see that now, guys. Now see that nearest value we're getting that. If you take the more than 2 digits here, it will take the more than after decimal value. If you take the more than two digits, it has to display the nearest value. See that here I have taken the more than 2 digits here. More than 2 digits, it has to display the nearest value here. Just see that same thing. If you take the here, see that now, guys. Is there any doubt here? Round function here. Just in the real-time cases where we should use round function exactly, we want to display the particular decimal values or nearest values. See that it has to display the particular decimal values or nearest values. Particular decimal values or nearest values. Nearest values. Nearest values. Nearest values.
Sir, can you log in, please? Put round.
What?
Can you show me?
Yeah,
Sorry.
just see that now here. See the output now. Yeah, we are getting that. Actually, see that we are displaying the 2 digits only. After decimal value, see that I given 8 7. We want to display the 8 7 here, but we are getting 8 8 because the 7 value it's above 5. It has to display the nearest value. It has to display the nearest value here. We are getting 8 8. We are getting 8 8 here. Just see that. Suppose here take the one value. It's below 5. It has displayed the int one.
Sir, where did you define that in the print?
Come again.
It's in a 20 line or where did you define about the round, sir? To display the round, we should define in
Yeah.
a printout.
This one, right? Here, this one. This one, no.
Sorry.
Round
that is-
function, we are calling that. We are calling round function only. Just see that. See that now, we have done entire program, guys. See that, we have done entire program. Here in the real-time projects where we could use float variable for storing decimal values, for storing salary, for calculate traveling elements, for calculate house rent elements. Just see that here, integer converted into float type, string converted into float type, float also converted into float type. Then this printing all things. We are printing all things now. We are printing value and a data type here. See that now here. We are printing value and data type. Just see that. Then round function here. The round function, it has to display the actual sal 15,000. Then along with the 2 decimal points here. 2 decimal points. 2 decimal points here. Yes, guys. Is there any doubt here? Is there any doubt? Yes or no?
No, sir.
Sir, give me some time. 1 minute, please.
Just see that now. It's a very simple code, guys. It's a very, see that, it's very simple. Here, see that how to
Correct,
do
sir.
typecasting, how to define the code variable, how to printing that, how to print values and data type. Just we are calling the round function here. It has to display the salary and along with the 2 decimal points here. If you want 3, you can change it 3 values, 3 decimal values. 3 decimal values, please. Now, we should go complex data type here, complex. What about complex data type here? We'll see that no complex here, guys. Just complex data type, right? Just see that. These are the basics here. All are basics only. Just see that. Let me come back here, guys. We should go complex. Shall I move, guys? Yes, guys. Shall I move?
Yes, yes.
Is there any doubt here in this program? Is there any doubt in this program?
No, sir.
How to define the values?
No, sir.
Now come back here. Let us come back. Complex. What about complex here? Just see that complex now. See that here we are going to store 2 values, real part and imaginary part here. Such cases you can store imaginary part. What about real part here in this case? Automatically the compiler is going to add real part 0. See that in this code, such cases we are going to store only imaginary part here. In that case, the compiler is going to add real part here. By default, is going to add real part here. How much here? 0 value. See that. Such cases, we are going to store only imaginary value. In such cases, we are going to store only imaginary values. Just store it, not an issue, guys. But what about real case here? In this case, what about real part here? Real part will take care of compiler. Real part will take care of compiler. The compiler is going to adding real part with the default value. With the default value, just we'll see that. Next one, such cases, we're going to store negative value. Negative imaginary value here. In this case also here, the compiler will take care of real part code. Real code here. You see that. How to access real code and imaginary code. There are 2 attributes here. These are the inbuilt keywords. These are the inbuilt here. These 2 keywords. Next one, complex function. Any object is going to convert into complex type. Any object, integer object, string object, float object. See that any object is going to convert into complex type here. In the real-time cases where if you use complex data type here, in the real-time projects. Suppose if you take the cricket application, if you take the application here, any application, we want store player name and runs both here. At a time, we want store both. At a time, we want store, just see that player name, then runs here. In that case, you should go complex here. Complex data type. Let me see that. Just come back now. We'll see. Create complex data type now. Complex underscore demo.py. Complex underscore demo.py. First of all, let me see that now, guys. Let me store complex C1 equal real code plus imaginary code. How to represent imaginary code, guys? With J character. J. Now see that this is called our imaginary code. Say imaginary code, it's a real code here. Let me take it now. A few things. Such case here, we are going to add. Such case, we are going to add only imaginary code. I want to store only imaginary code. Here there is no real part code. We are having only imaginary code. In this case, the compiler will take care of real part code. He's going to add real part code with the default value. See that the compiler will take care of real part code here. Such cases, we are going to store negative value. Such cases, we are going to store negative imaginary value. Negative imaginary value. Just see that. How to represent imaginary value with the J character. How to represent imaginary value with J character. With J. Just see that now, guys. How to represent imaginary value with J character. Just see that. Here in this case, what about here? Real code 0. What about real code here? 0. What about real code here itself? 0 only. See that by default, the compiler is going to add 0 value. The compiler will take care of, see that, the compiler will take care of real code here. See that in this case, there is no real part code, but the compiler is going to assign 0 value. See that 0 value for real code, it's an imaginary code. Here also the compiler by default is going to store 0 value. 0 value, guys. See that now, just like that. The compiler will take care of that, you guys. The compiler will take care of the real part code. Don't worry about that. You don't bother about that. You can ignore it. The compiler will take care of that. He's going to adding 0 value in the real part. Okay, let us see that now. Here, I given real code and imaginary code. In the second object, only I gave imaginary code. In the third object, I given negative imaginary value. Negative imaginary value, guys. Okay, guys. I want to access. Here, see that C1 object. I want to access C1 object. Real code and imaginary code here. Separately, I want to access. Separately, I want to access. Just see that now here. How to access separately here. Suppose if you display the here, this thing, C1. If you display the C1 here, if you display the C1, let me display the C1 here. Let me display the C1. C1, let me give the space. Then let me display the data type also, guys. Data type also. Then comma /n. In the same way, let me display that now here. C2 also, C3 also. C2, C2. Then C3 also, guys. Done, guys. C3 also, guys. Done. See that now, guys. Okay, done. Now let me access only C1 object, real code and imaginary code. I want to access separately here. I want to access separately here. I want to display the separately real code and imaginary code. You see that now here, there is a 2 keywords, real and IMAG. these two keywords. It will access real part code. It will access imaginary code. See that there is a inbuilt keywords for calling real part code and imaginary code. See that these two keywords here. Let me see that. Come back. Let me access C1 object, real code and imaginary code both here. Come back here. Just see that. Print here, guys. Okay. Yeah. Let me check that now, guys. C1 dot real code /t guys. Then C1 dot img imaginary code. Imaginary code, guys. Separately we are accessing that. Separately we are accessing both here. Separately we are accessing real code, imaginary code. In the same way, let me see that now. C2 real code, imaginary code. C2 real code. Where is the real code? 0. 0. See that where is the 0? Adding by compiler. Adding by compiler. See that for C2 object, is there any real code? There is no real code. The compiler is going to adding real code. The compiler is going to adding real code. See that. You don't worry. What is the real code here? 0. Imaginary code 21J. Here, let me give the /n, guys. /n. Here also, let me see that now. Here C3 object, real code, imaginary code. Done, guys. Done. Let me check that now. First of all, here is it running or not? Okay, is it running or not, guys? We'll see. Complex demo, right? Complex demo here. Yes, we are getting that. All see that now. Separate we are accessing here. Separately, see that it's a real code, it's a imaginary code. It's a real code. See that C2 object, real code, imaginary code. It's a real code, imaginary code. You see that now here. All are complex type. Complex type. Just see that here. See that now here. Real code, second object. C1 object values, real code, imaginary code. C2 object values. C3 object values. Just see that code, what code I have written here. Just see that now, guys. Is there any doubt in this code, guys? Is there any doubt in this code? Let's start now.
No, sir.
Okay. Just come back now, guys. We'll see. Let me see that arithmetic operations here. Let me remove this code. C2 arithmetic operations. 20 plus 25J. C3. Okay, guys. Let me see that arithmetic operations, guys. I want to show the arithmetic operations here. I want to add C1 real code and C2 real code. Then C1 imaginary code and C2 imaginary code. Just see that now, guys. What I'm trying to say, guys. Just see that. I don't want this much code. See that. I want to add these two. C1 real code and C2 real code. How much here? 30. C1 imaginary code, C2 imaginary code. How much here? Something. How much here? 44. We are going to perform arithmetic operations here. Let me check the arithmetic operations now, guys. Print here. Print. Print. Let me display that now here. C1 dot real plus C2 dot real. See that now we are going to add in C1 real code and C2 real code. In the same way here. In the same way, let me see that now here. C2 imaginary code, C1 dot img plus C2 dot img. Just see that now here. We're adding that. Here, we want to subtraction here. Subtraction here itself. Here also, subtraction, imaginary code. See that now, guys. It's a very simple code here. Multiply real code and imaginary code. Let me give the slash n, guys. Slash n. Slash n. Division code. We are going to divide it. Real code and imaginary code both here. See that arithmetic operations here. Add of real code, add of imaginary code. Just see that. Same code I have written here. Let me save it now, guys. Let me save it now. We'll see. That means we are going to get. See that arithmetic. See that. Add of C1, C2. See that now. Imaginary code. Subtraction of C1 real code, C2 real code. Imaginary code. Mull of only C1 real, C2 real. C1 imaginary, C2 imaginary. Just see that. Here, division of C1 real, C2 real. C2 imaginary, C1 imaginary. Just see that now code. Is there any doubt here? Just see that now, guys. Just see that. Is there any doubt in the complex? The complex data type here. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. In the real-time projects, where we should use complex data types here, real-time projects. We want store player name and runs both here. We want store player name and runs here. Okay, just see that. How to store the player name and runs here? Okay. C3 object. Player name. Dynamically we will get it. Otherwise, player name something here. Player name. What is the player name here? First of all, runs here. Runs here. Runs 78. Player name. What's the player name, guys? Rahul. Otherwise, Sachin. Sachin Tendulkar. Okay, Sachin. You see that it's an imaginary part. It's imaginary part here. Imaginary part. You see that now C3 object. Let me display that C3 object, guys. What we are going to get now? C3 real object and C3 imaginary object. C3 imaginary object. Let me run this code. I will see that we're getting or not. Is there any? See that? Sachin J. See that now something is missing here. For real and imaginary part. In the imaginary part. In value. Here runs to 78. The name, he wants to the name also, guys. Name also here, see that? Sachin. Sachin. Then outside J. J only. Let's imaginary report. Well, see that now, guys. Is there any issue here? Invalid syntax, J character. Here in the real part, let me show the subset. Search here. In the imaginary part, you can show the runs here. It's correct. It looks perfect here. 90 runs. Okay, guys. Let's see that now here. Okay, guys. It's running now. Can only concat str, not complex here. Okay, guys. I'll show some other example. Don't worry. Here you can ignore it. I'll show the real-time. I'll show the real-time program here. For complex here. Don't worry. Here, appending. See that now? Searching. Concatenation, two objects now. Not complex. It's not complex type here. These two are, see that, it's not complex type. This is not complex data type here. This is not complex data type, something. Can take the value here. Outside you can take it. I'll show the separate example, don't worry guys. Suppose outside you can declare that name here. Name. You know, same thing. It's not a string complex type here. The C3 is not complex type. Concatenation is two objects here. Concatenation is two objects here. It's not complex type. I'll show the one more example. Don't worry. Separate example. I'll show that. Here, remove that. Okay, guys. In tomorrow's class, I'll show that. Don't worry. In tomorrow's class, I'll show the real-time one example here for complex here. How to store the player name under runs here. I'll show that. We need to do some typecasting here. I have to do some typecasting. In tomorrow's class, we'll see that. How to store player name under runs here in the real-time projects. I'll show that. Okay, guys. Okay, in tomorrow's class, we'll see that one more example. Directly, we should go here. Sequence data types here. Sequence data types here. Sequence data types. There are three types here. Distant, tuple, then distant tuple, range keyword. In tomorrow's class, we'll see that here. First of all, we'll see how to store player name under runs here. How to store player name under runs. Then we should go directly sequence data types. In tomorrow's class, we'll see that these two examples. Okay, guys. Is there any doubt here in today's class, guys? Yes or no? Yes or no, guys?
Okay.
Yeah, guys. Thank you. Thanks for support here.
Thank you, sir.